Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Keller, the CEO of CFP Board. I want to thank you for joining us today to learn more about our upcoming public awareness campaign. But first, I again want to recognize these unusual and stressful times. All of us at CFP Board really appreciate the tremendous work that the CFP professional community is engaged in. We just want to make sure that you're making it a priority to take care of yourself as well, along with your loved ones too. We are grateful that you're taking time today to stay connected with us and the work that we're doing to uphold CFP certification. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. If you run into issues with your audio for this presentation, or if it seems like the slides are out of sync, refresh your webinar console. There is a Q&A function on your screen that you can use to submit questions to us at any time during the program. At the end of our prepared presentation, we'll address your questions, and if we don't get to your specific question, we'll follow up personally after the webinar. And we'll be posting a recording of today's webinar on our website, cfp.net. I'm joined today by Jim Katsunis, Managing Director of Marketing and Communications here at CFP Board. And we're joined by Missy Liebner, Media Director at our ad agency, White 64. Welcome, Jim, and welcome, Missy.
Thank you, Kevin.
Good. I think we're going to have some fun today. This afternoon, what we want to do is share background on our public awareness campaign, including why we have it and what we've accomplished so far. We will review the brand positioning and preview 2 television spots and other creative materials that we're using this spring. Take a look at the media plan, and finally, we'll discuss how the paid media gets extended through public relations and the support of you in the CFP professional community. Public awareness campaign, which started back in 2011, supports CFP Board's mission to benefit the public by granting the CFP certification and upholding it as a recognized standard of excellence. The idea of the public awareness campaign was generated by you, CFP professionals. We continue to see a high level of support for it as well. In our 2021 survey of CFP professionals, 92% of you rated promoting and building the brand as either important or very important. It was the top priority identified by CFP professionals in the survey. And awareness remains one of CFP Board's 5 strategic priorities. We've seen significant success with the campaign during its first 11 years. The campaign's target audience, which we call the Mass Affluent Initiator, is a proprietary subset of the mass affluent that also meets certain demographic and psychological components of folks predisposed to working with a financial advisor. To determine brand health and elevate the campaign in reaching this target audience, we use 5 brand equity measures of the marketing funnel. Now, back in 2011, before the campaign began, what we call unaided awareness of the CFP certification was 17%. What that means is that only 17% of your most relevant prospects could bring to mind the CFP certification without being prompted. In other words, unaided. They could say, when asked, name a certification in the financial planning space, they could say CFP or Certified Financial Planner. That number has increased to a solid 27% in 2021, which is significant when compared across industry and for the size of our campaign budget. Total awareness, which is the measure of unaided plus aided awareness, which means they're prompted. We show folks CFP and they say, oh yeah, I've heard of that. So we call that total awareness. It's also increased by 10% in the 11 years of the campaign. The percentage of consumers surveyed who would recommend a CFP professional has increased by 43%. The percentage of respondents who voice a preference for CFP professionals has increased threefold. And those that express their intent to use a CFP professional has more than doubled over the 11 years of the campaign. Increasing total awareness and preference for will be the primary goals of the campaign in 2022. To share a little bit more details about the plans for this year's campaign, let me turn the presentation over to Jim Katsunis, our Managing Director for Marketing and Communications. Jim, you've been at CFP Board now how long?
About 6 months, Kevin.
6 months. You've got it all figured out. We're happy to have you. You came to us from the American College.
I did.
We're happy to have you as part of our team.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. In 2018, CFP Board underwent extensive qualitative and quantitative research among consumers and CFP professionals. This research led to our brand promise. The advertising campaign strives to communicate to potential clients that partnering with a certified financial planner professional provides confidence today and a more secure tomorrow.
Jim, I'm going to stop you there just for a second. That real brand positioning, when I talk to CFP professionals, that concept of providing more confidence in their clients, more confidence today, more secure tomorrow, I think really gets at what CFP is all about.
And it's what resonated the most with our audience. And we tested that in 2020, and we amended the campaign to really focus on confidence and security. The CFP Board continues to be in a very strong position to engage through advertising with our consumers who need and are seeking financial advice and expertise. This year, we'll leverage the creative assets from 2021 with an emphasis on the CFP acronym, connecting CFP professionals in financial planning, and highlighting retirement planning, and use of visuals that continue to promote an aspirational view of the future of our target audience. A sampling of the creative is shown here for your reference. Now we'll play for you the 30-second and 15-second television spots. Each spot will play 2 times.
We've saved our money, and now we get to spend it our way.
But we worry if we have enough to last.
For retirement planning, investment advice, and more, look for a CFP professional. CFP professionals can help you craft a complete financial plan that gives you confidence today and tomorrow. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org.
Our Confident Forever plan is possible with a CFP professional.
We've saved our money, and now we get to spend it our way.
But we worry if we have enough to last.
For retirement planning, investment advice, and more, look for a CFP professional. CFP professionals can help you craft a complete financial plan that gives you confidence today and tomorrow. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org.
Our Confident Forever plan is possible with a CFP professional. Our Confident Forever plan is possible with a CFP professional.
A CFP professional can help you build a complete financial plan. Visit letsmakeaplan.org to find your CFP professional.
Our Confident Forever plan is possible with a CFP professional.
A CFP professional can help you build a complete financial plan. Visit letsmakeaplan.org to find your CFP professional.
Now I'd like to turn things over to Missy Lieber, Media Director at our partner, White 64.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. This year was to create a media plan that delivers a combination of the right media mix, the media weight, and the frequency necessary to meet the awareness and preference goals set forth this year. This included a thorough evaluation of current syndicated research in order to identify the changes in media consumption behaviors among our target audience, particularly that have shifted as a result of our COVID lockdown, and then take those learnings to craft the right media plan. Target audience is spending more time than ever with video across multiple screens. Video impressions dominate this year's buy to be sure to reach our target audience no matter where they're watching video, whether it's on a laptop, a phone, or a TV. Now, streaming TV viewership has increased dramatically during COVID. Research shows that a combination of traditional television plus streaming television equals a lift in overall awareness, which is our primary objective. We've negotiated more sponsorships than ever with our partners, including sponsored vignettes with HGTV, Food Network, bonus commercials from our partners, and more, all designed to increase brand awareness and visibility. We're also expanding our reach this year with additional spots on broadcast television in top shows watched by our target audience, including Shark Tank, Survivor, Dateline, and 48 Hours.
Missy, when you're negotiating with these vignettes, why is that so important?
Well, first of all, it's great additional exposure for the brand. It also aligns the brand and the frequency of message with whatever the, let's say, vignette is about. For example, for HGTV this year, our vignette is about a safe home, and we're laying that in the tagged sponsorship about having, safe planning, sound planning, financial planning from our advisors. So to elevate the brand and align it.
Great. You typically have to buy a certain amount. You have to commit a certain amount to the network. Is that right?
The interesting thing, though, is that we leverage our negotiated media buys in order to provide this extra added value and exposure. And it happens to be, for example, that Food Network and GTV are both owned by Discovery Channel. And so we leveraged our overall spend across Discovery and including Discovery Plus, which is their streaming platform, in order to bring added value overall with our Discovery buys. And
many of the networks on Discovery are really dense with it's a good place for our target audience.
It's a huge fit, especially when we're looking for different audiences like females and aligning with some of their different programming, whether it's HGTV, Cooking Channel, Food Network. They have a huge stable that aligns really nicely with our target audience. So look to do as many of those as possible. As I mentioned previously, I think the biggest shift we've seen over the past years in terms of media consumption is the surge in streaming television. And as a result, the team has shifted dollars from traditional television to streaming television, allocating the spend to align with the target audience's viewership. Now, television still makes up the highest percentage of our media mix at 51%, so that we're maximizing our reach and frequency against the target audience, with digital and streaming covering over a third of the budget at 35%. Digital includes video pre-roll on YouTube, as well as display and banner ads, and podcasting. Now, SEM, or search engine marketing, which is paid ads on Google search as well as Bing, our radio and our social, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, make up the rest of our overall budget at 15%.
Missy, does anybody use Bing?
It is becoming more and more relevant. Really? Yes, it is.
What's the percentage, Google versus Bing?
Probably 90% to 10%. It's a small number, but always just in order to cover your bases, you want to make sure that you have coverage on all, but I would say the highest percentage of our overall budget goes to Google. Absolutely. Our ad campaign, as you can see, is going to run for 9 weeks, and we start this Monday, March 28th, and we run through the end of May. Cable, TV, digital, SEM will launch the campaign on 3/28, and they'll provide the continuity and maintenance for the entire campaign. Now, the radio and broadcast television will have a 6-week run, providing additional reach and frequency as we hit our peak towards the end of our campaign.
Stop there, Misty.
Yep.
You always talk about reach and frequency in the ad business.
Right.
Would you tell our listeners what that means?
Reach is the total number of people or different people. We can look at net reach or we can look at reach altogether that we're reaching with our campaign among our primary target audience. The frequency is the number of times somebody in our target audience is exposed to the ad. If you have somebody who's exposed more often and frequently to the ad, there will be an increase in overall awareness, and that is why...
And hopefully recall.
Absolutely, recall and awareness when asked those questions during our research. Search engine marketing will run throughout the year, but has a heavy up during the end of the campaign. On this slide, you'll see a wide breadth of media partners, and it's certainly the campaign is not limited to this. We know that our target audience are heavy consumers of news and sports, lifestyle and financial planning, and that's where we will find and focus our media attention with our ads there. Now I'm going to pass things back to Jim, who's going to talk about how the paid media campaign can be extended even further to you.
In addition to our paid media, we'll seek to optimize and maximize our public relation opportunities and use CFP Board ambassadors to extend the brand reach. Our own assets, like our consumer-facing website, letsmakeaplan.org, and social media channels will enhance our reach and frequency. The campaign assets are available to certificants to extend the reach of our campaign. CFP.net hosts a wide variety of these tools: TV spots, banner ads, print ads, customizable radio spots, and social media posts. Certificants can use these tools to support their own professional branding and marketing initiatives.
Okay, well, we've got questions coming in, so why don't we just dive right in? Again, if we don't get to your question, we'll come back. Jim, you just mentioned, Ashley asks, can we use these ads on our social media? So what's the deal there?
Yeah, so if you go to CFP.net, under resources, the public awareness campaign, you'll see all the assets of the campaign. You could download the video assets, share them on your social media accounts, on your company websites if your company allows you to do such. There's also customizable radio spots that you could use for your own personal branding and marketing, as well as pre-written social media posts.
That's great. Thank you for that. Speaking of radio ads, Jim asks, I've never heard a CFP radio ad. What stations? Missy, who are you buying?
Our target audience is listening to NPR and American Public Media. So if you turn into National Public Radio, you'll hear our ads across Morning Edition, All Things Considered, How I Built This, and we are also going to be sponsoring the Minute on Kai's Rizdal's Marketplace report on APM.
Carl writes in to let us know that his office uses Bing, so maybe, maybe I'm just missing something.
Thanks, Carl.
Hey, Jim, Tricia asks, how long's the campaign been, this particular campaign been running?
This campaign launched in 2018. Since then, the campaign's creative assets have been updated and optimized based on performance and what's best resonate with our target audience to drive awareness and recall. So thank you, Tricia, for that question.
Great. Looking at the questions coming in, Missy, this one gets to the media buy. Mm-hmm. Hank asks, how was this campaign timing determined to provide the greatest impact? You've got a smile on your face.
That's a great question, Hank, because our team actually did quite an analysis for this to find the optimum time to maximize our recall. We actually looked at the competitive set of different financial advertisers during the first and second quarter of each year historically. And what we found is that during tax time and first quarter, a lot of the companies, H&R Block and some of the other financial certifications, spent millions and millions. And, you know, we tried to look for an opportunity in order to have an impact where there wouldn't be as much clutter. What we found is that right after that tax season, that April 15th time period, is when they kind of took the pedal off the gas. That was our recommendation, to start right before then and then go right into that time period and continue through May.
Missy, I think you said financial certifications, but I think you meant financial services companies.
Correct. Sorry, yes.
Are typically very heavy in that
Absolutely,
first.
they are. Yes. Hundreds of millions.
Next question, Jim Katsunas here. Kenneth asks, what is the target audience? We talk about this MAI. So I'm going to let you start, and since you've been here 6 months, you obviously know the right answer, but I can give the contextual answer, so I'll let you go first.
Well, Ken, the MAI, or what we call the Mass Affluent Initiator, is a subsegment of the Mass Affluent audience. And that subsegment is individuals that have $100,000 or more in household income, have investable assets of $100,000 to over $1 million, ages 36 to 64, but they also meet a proprietary psychodemographic profile, and they're predisposed to working with a financial planner.
Yeah, so, you know, look, we've been working on this. We'll be refreshing and reevaluating this after this year's campaign. But this started when we launched the campaign back in 2011, looking not only at the demographics, which Jim reviewed, but also the psychographics, or the mindset, if you will. So one of the questions following up on that, Missy, that we frequently get is sometimes people in the CFP community will ask me, well, wait a second, you know, are we not targeting people below 35 or older than 64? Would you give some context as to how the media buy works in conjunction with that target?
Yes, absolutely. So we use syndicated research to look at the media habits of our target audiences. And as Jim mentioned, that includes both demographic age groups as well as household income and investable assets. We look at what kind of media they're consuming and then what type of programs and things they're watching. It validates that. Now, we will reach some of the younger audience, and specifically kind of that 35 to 44 audience, particularly online. And through television, it's always going to over-deliver on the older end of that audience. So we are bracketing both of those kind of younger end and the older end, but we really try and focus on that 35 to 64-year-old with those psychographics in order to prevent waste.
Let me give you the bigger issue is if we had an unlimited budget, if we had a $200 million budget, then we could get, you know, we could do everybody. But we had to, you know, in order to hope to have impact, we've narrowed that down.
Right.
And it's both the original target audience was developed by asking people, prospective clients, how much money did they think they needed to have before they might engage a financial planner. And so that helps determine the boundaries. And we also ask CFP professionals, you know, kind of what their minimum client. Now, we have CFP professionals whose minimum client's much greater than the target audience. But you saw the logos that Missy put up, so we know that those folks are watching where we are. But you know, it's somewhere the kind of the median is 500,000 or so for many CFPs. So it was both was on both sides of the equation. We've talked about the MAI audience. let me go on. Will the slides be available after the presentation? Yes, we will post on CFP.net the entire presentation. It usually takes us about a week to get that done, so we'll be watching that. Let me go, another question here. Missy, how do we ensure that we're reaching a diverse audience?
Well, it's extremely important. Our campaign is designed to reach a variety of different diverse audiences across all media channels. Let me give you an example. So our CNN campaign, in which you'll see ads during Anderson Cooper and Don Lemon. When I look at the research, 35% of people who watch Anderson Cooper are people of color. And people who watch Don Lemon, the concentration's even greater at 40% of his audience. Okay. So through different means, and again, having up through women on HTV and some of our audiences, it's very important.
Justin must be a big podcast fan, because he's asking, do we have any ads in podcasts?
Absolutely. We're targeting and using podcasts in a variety of ways. One, through our partnership through NPR, will be in a lot of their top-of-the-line top podcasts, as well as you talked about reaching individuals primarily in our audience. We'll actually target people in specific age groups and reach them no matter what podcast they're listening to. But keep an ear out for NPR.
Great. Here's Missy, a lot of questions about the media buy. So Alexandra asks, she said, some of my clients say they don't see any of our ads at all, and I thought we were targeting them. So,
okay, fair question.
What is that? What do you have to say to Alexandra?
It's a fair question, but our campaign is designed to reach our target audience across a variety of media channels. So, given our budget and the varied media consumption habits of our target audience, it would be highly unlikely that 100% of the target sees or hears a commercial. However, our campaign reaches about 85 to 87% of our target over 11 times. So that is a very high frequency across the campaign.
Just for, for reference, how big is the target audience? When we talk about those people, 35 to 64, $100,000 household income, $100,000 to $1 million of investable assets, and then we layer over that the psychographic, the mindset considerations. How big are we talking about?
It's probably anywhere from 25 to 30 million in terms of the universe. Yep.
All right. Jim, question for you. Shauna asks, we showed the commercials. We have a 30-second and a 15. She said the 15 goes by really quickly. Can we really do the job we need with just 15 seconds?
Shauna, I'm glad you asked that question. It's a perfect question. The 15-second commercial has become prevalent and very effective format in recent years. It allows us to reach our audiences with more frequency than a longer spot, and it's helpful in promoting recall. In addition, testing was done on the concepts prior to filming to ensure that our concepts were effective in delivering our key messages and lifting awareness.
Great. Thank you. Missy, Charles says he's really excited about ads on business-focused shows like Shark Tank and others. It must be a good place for our target audience. Is that right?
It is, absolutely. I mean, the top programs, as I mentioned before, are news programs for our audience and financial programs. Shark Tank came up extremely high in terms of reach and index against our target audience. So we're really excited with these programs, along with like Dateline. That whole genre, Dateline, 48 Hours, came up really strong in terms of reach against our audience.
Just as long as To Catch a Predator does it.
That's right. Yes, we're not on that.
See, Damien asks, is there a way to measure how many people use the search engine? Damien, we keep track of how many people use Let's Make a Plan. Jim, what was our 2021 number?
It was over 700,000, Kevin, searches, individual searches in 2021.
Yeah, 700,000. So, Damien, I hope that helps. Roberto, this is another one for Missy. Roberto asks, what are you doing considering all of the ad-free options for TV and video? How do we make sure people see the ads?
It is a challenge, but creativity is also a part of this. We do our best to buy as deep as possible across these different channels where consumers have ad-free options. For example, whether it's Roku or Hulu are examples of that. But there are still a substantial portion of available impressions that we can buy that are in front of that firewall. So we buy as many impressions as possible within our budget, and then we negotiate unique sponsorships. So, for example, we have one that we did last year, and we're also doing with Roku again this year. And this allows us to get our brand message in front of those people who subscribe to ad-free messaging before they skip to, that ad-free portion. So we do our best to buy as many as possible.
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Kelly asks, do we have ads on TikTok?
We do not have ads.
I'm guessing TikTok might fall a bit outside our target market.
It is, and it's also kind of like a little bit of a fad right now. There's different social media things, Snapchat and things that pop up, but they're not appropriate for every audience. And right now, our feeling is to really do a good job building on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, and if and when it's ever right, then we will look at TikTok. We are looking at it.
We buy against our target audience.
That's right. They're not big TikTok users.
We have just a couple more minutes here, a couple more questions. Paul wants to know, how were the particular actors shown in the commercial selected? I'll take that because I was there. Were you there for the shoot, Missy? Were you?
I was not.
I was there. Jim was definitely wasn't there. The actors in the commercial were selected with a mind toward depicting people in our target audience. Across the two commercials, we were able to show diversity of age, gender, and then you may have noticed the CFP professional was Black. When we shot that series of ads, we actually shot 3 different ads. We had a series again, and over time, our research showed that this particular ad was the most effective. Susan wants to know about social media, Jim, if you might address how we do that. And at the same time, Jared is asking, where exactly on the CFP website can I find pre-written social media posts?
And also add to that the question from Kevin about the video advertisements, where he can find those on the website, as well as Mira's question about where on this website as well she can find the social media. So I'll answer them all together. First, to Susan's question about why do we use social media as part of the campaign? Social media is an integral part of the campaign in our buy. Research indicates, as Missy pointed out earlier, that our target audience are heavy users of Facebook and LinkedIn. And social media is used to generate awareness through our paid as well as boosted posts, driving traffic and garnering consumer engagement with CFP content. All of these assets of the campaign can be found on CFP.net. Right under the public awareness section of the website. You could even just search on the website and look up public awareness campaign, and you'll be able to download all the social media posts, the scripts for the radio ads, as well as the TV spots, and you could use those on your social media as well as on your company websites. As long as your company and your compliance departments allow you to use them and they're approved to be used.
Kenneth here has been a really active poster of questions. He's asking, can I insert the video advertisement on a company website? Yes, you can embed it in, but just make sure compliance is okay with that. I think we're kind of coming to the end. Missy Lieber, final thoughts from you as it relates to our media buy, and what the CFP community is going to see over the next 9 weeks?
I think it's going to be a great campaign. It's going to be across a lot of different video channels and places that you're going to be engaged in and getting your information from. So it's going to be a lot of frequency, and I think you'll see an uptick towards the end of the campaign. It's just a tremendous media weight. And
carpet bombing?
Absolutely, but targeted carpet bombing. Yes.
All right, Missy, thank you for all you've done for us so far, and we obviously are tracking the results here on a regular basis. Jim Katsounis, CFP Board's Managing Director of Marketing and Communications, final word from you.
Just want to thank our certificates for supporting the public awareness campaign. Please go to cfp.net/PAC. Again, cfp.net/PAC to download the toolkit of all the assets and help us extend our message and our brand.
Well, Jim, thank you, and Missy, thank you. You know, this will most likely be the last year for this campaign, and so we look forward to a fresher campaign in 2023, an updated campaign. And we thank all of you for joining us today and for all that you do for the profession of financial planning. If you have questions, reach out to us here at CFP Board. If we didn't get to your question, I think we got to most of them. We will answer it after the fact. This concludes our webinar today. A recording will be posted on our website within the next week. Have a great day, everybody.